Overseas again now, European Union members have struck a deal with the Turkish government that could substantially cut the flow of refugees into Europe. At the EU's headquarters in Brussels, 28 European leaders agreed to a deal which includes aid for Syrian refugees in Turkey and political concessions to the Turkish government, including a revival of talks on Turkey's long-stalled application for EU membership. But the deal has raised new concerns about Turkey's human rights record and about the plight of those Syrians unable to escape the conflict. As Anne Barker reports.
Asylum seekers on Greece's northern border show frustration as Macedonian soldiers refuse to let them through on their way to Western Europe. The soldiers are building a 25-kilometre fence along the border with Greece to keep all but genuine refugees out. These are the latest of an estimated million or more asylum seekers who've entered the EU already this year. Most have come through Turkey, seeking shelter from war or persecution or just looking for a better life. Turkey now has arguably the biggest refugee population in the world, and Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu says his country is paying the price for the UN's failure to solve the Syrian crisis.
Turkey has almost 2.2 million from Syria and additional 300,000 from Iraq refugees. We spent $8 billion until now, and this is only for the camps. We have in some towns there are more Syrian refugees than Turkish citizens.
Now, Turkey and EU leaders have struck a deal to curb the flow of migrants into Europe. At a summit in Brussels, the EU has agreed to pay €3 billion in aid, almost $5 billion, to improve conditions for Syrian refugees living in Turkey. As well, the EU has agreed to re-energise talks over Turkey's long-standing bid for EU membership. In return, Turkey is expected to patrol its borders more effectively, although EU President Donald Tusk stressed it's not an incentive for Turkey to shut its borders altogether.
We do not expect anyone to guard our borders for us. That can and should only be done by Europeans. But we expect a major step towards changing the rules of the game when it comes to stemming the migration flow that is coming to the EU via Turkey.
The deal will make it easier too for European countries to return migrants not found to be genuine refugees, and it would include the carrot of Turkish citizens having visa-free access to key European countries. Turkey's Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoglu has pledged Turkey's support to do all it can to implement the deal, and he says it's an historic day in its relations with the EU.
All my colleagues in Europe, they agree that Turkey and EU have the same destiny as the members of the family of our continent, and Turkish membership will be an asset, not only to EU, to Turkey, but also to the global peace.
In reality, though, the deal will be extremely difficult to implement. Human rights groups and some European leaders are reluctant to grant Turkey any concessions because of ongoing concerns about human rights abuses and lack of progress on democratic reforms. And the truth is, many refugees simply don't want to stay in Turkey. Mohammed Azul and his family fled Syria more than 2 years ago and now struggle to find work and good housing near Istanbul.
We came here for safety, but life is hard. It's expensive, and we can't afford to send our children to school. We work without papers, and employers fire us. I would like to go to Europe, so our children have a future, but I'm not willing to put their lives at risk in the boats.
Another man who didn't want to be named says he's determined to leave Turkey for Germany, where his wife and 2 children have been living for 5 months.
I will never stay here, whatever they offer me. Human beings feel like animals in Turkey. When I have enough money, I will follow my family to Germany.
European leaders acknowledge the difficulty ahead, both to control the flow of migrants and advance Turkey's accession to the EU. But with up to 1.5 million migrants expected to arrive in Europe this year, Turkey for now has the upper hand. Leaders on both sides have agreed to hold a similar summit twice a year.
Anne Barker reporting.